Twin tastes. If you ever want to understand chaos, try standing between Aunt Diane and Aunt Marilyn when they disagree on seasoning. I mean that literally. I'm James Earl, 33, a chef in training and lifelong peacekeeper. Some people juggle knives in the kitchen. I juggle emotions, egos, and occasionally vegan tofu flying across rooms. This all began with a birthday, their 60th. One milestone, 2 women, and a family teetering on the edge of culinary civil war. They were born minutes apart. Diane first, loud and hungry. Marilyn next, serene and stubborn. They grew up in a house filled with music, mischief, and mama's collard greens. As girls, they wore matching outfits and shared everything. Clothes, secrets, and birthday cakes. Half lemon, Marilyn's favorite. Half chocolate, Diane's addiction. They used to finish each other's sentences, then argue over how those sentences ended. But something changed over the years. Maybe it was careers or husbands. Or the time Marilyn went plant-based and tried to replace macaroni cheese with nutritional yeast. That was traumatic. Now, in June 2025, the feud that had been simmering boiled over like an unattended gumbo pot. Fried chicken, cornbread, and peach cobbler James. That's what people come for. Diane slapped the counter, defiant and wearing an apron that read "Born to Fry." And to die of hypertension, apparently, Marilyn chimed in, folding her arms in her earth-toned yoga wear. We're turning 60, not 60-plus cardiac arrest. My party, my menu, quinoa bowls, kale salad, lemon water. It's called self-love. It's called rabbit food. Better than a grease bucket. The kitchen fell silent. I stood in the middle, armed with a wooden spoon, and the sudden realization that my life was about to become a family reality show. That night, they both called separately to say they were throwing their own party. Same day, different venues. Guests had to pick sides. And guess who was told to cater both? It didn't take long for the family group chat to implode. Aunt Loretta voted Diane, Uncle Ben swore by Marilyn's lemon detox cake. Even Grandma switched sides midweek based on who she was less angry with. On the day of the parties, I woke up with 2 sets of menus, 3 kinds of anxiety, and 1 plan: split my time and not die. Diane's bash was held at the community center. Soul music, barbecue smoke, and laughter thick in the air. She'd hired a blues band, had peach cobbler on tap, and wore a dress with sequins loud enough to rival her personality. Meanwhile, Marilyn's mixer took place in a yoga studio with herbal tea, indoor plants, and calming flute music. People arrived barefoot. There were quinoa cupcakes and guests meditating between bites of roasted chickpeas. Me? I ran back and forth like a sitcom sidekick, switching shirts, smiling too hard, praying no one noticed the kale leaf stuck in my beard. But what I did notice was something under the surface. At Diane's, I overheard her whisper to cousin Renee, "I just miss the way she laughs." Even when it wasn't funny, Marilyn always laughed. At Marilyn's, I saw her standing by the buffet, staring at a photo of them as teenagers. Hair-pressed, matching t-shirts, one of them flicking water in the other's face. She didn't smile, she just sighed. That night, I had an idea. I called Grandma, I called the cousins. I called everyone except the feuding queens themselves. I booked the old community center where they had their 10th birthday. I decorated it exactly like the photo: gingham tablecloths, streamers, and a disco ball. Then came the menu, a unity feast. Fried cauliflower wings glazed with Diane's spicy honey, cornbread muffins stuffed with Marilyn's sautéed kale and vegan sausage, vegan peach cobbler with a caramel drizzle. I called it Southern Fusion Soul. They arrived separately, both scowling, both tricked by vague family emergency texts. They froze at the door. Then saw the banner, Happy 60th, Marilyn and Diane, still tied at the heart. Tables lined with food, photo walls filled with memories. Guests already laughing, no Team Diane. No Team Marilyn, just us. They stayed on opposite sides at first, awkward and quiet. But the food drew them in. Diane bit into a kale-stuffed muffin. Tastes sinful, but it's good. Marilyn nibbled the vegan chicken. It has crunch, real crunch. They started laughing, genuinely this time. A cousin played Lean on Me and a slideshow rolled, flashbacks of 2 little girls, then 2 grown women, always dancing, always fighting, always returning. When the song ended, they were standing side by side. The following weekend, they threw a joint party. This time by choice. The cake? Half chocolate, half lemon. The dance floor packed. The DJ? Our cousin Junior in a gold tracksuit. As they cut the cake together, Diane held the knife, Marilyn the plate. I stood behind them, beaming in my chef whites.